getting around GM's CarPlay omission, and Black Friday purchases. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by 1Password Extended Access Management. It is security for the way we work today. Find out more at onepassword.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is MacVoices Live. It's Tuesday night. It is 8 p.m. Eastern or thereabouts, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV, like we are every Tuesday. That's something we're going to have to talk about coming up. But anyway, we would love to have you join us when we are here on Tuesdays to talk about Apple stuff, tech stuff, and whatever. We talk, you listen, then you throw your comments in the chat. We comment on your comments, and then we all just go spiraling down a black hole or something like that. As always, even though it seems like there's not a huge amount of Apple news right now, we do have a few Apple stories and some broader tech stories tonight to talk about. So we're just going to get right to it by introducing the panel. Taking it the way I always do, in the top left of my screen, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, good to have you.
Great to be here. Welcome back, everybody, from our Thanksgiving holiday in the U.S. I had a fair amount of turkey and a fair amount of stuffing and plenty of other food, but now we're back here to talk about tech and Apple.
Yep, it was a great holiday, but it went by way too fast, and here we are. So
it did.
Top right of my screen tonight is occupied by Mr. Marty Jencius. Marty, good to see you.
Hey, it's good to be here. The tamales were a hit, by the way, Chuck.
I was going to ask you about that. Did they travel well?
Yeah, they traveled well, and so I worked out the cooking, and everything went well. And we had some folks from Tucson who had lived in Tucson, and they tried them, and they're like, "This reminds me of going back to Tucson." So popular. But it was 1,300 miles of driving over 5 days. So I'm wiped out.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, if we see you nod off, we'll just blank your screen out and won't pester you.
Okay.
The gentleman who was modeling a new hat pre-show, Mr. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, is here. Brian, good to have you.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Do you want to remodel it, or would you rather just leave the crowd with the mystery?
Well, I got a big game coming up on Thursday against the Lions. Go Pack, go!
The Lions. Just out of spite.
No fighting. No fighting.
Yeah, just cheer for anybody who's playing against the Packers. That's my rule from Chicago.
Horrible.
Man.
Horrible.
Man. And these are your friends, Brian. Think if they were your enemies.
Oh, man. That's okay. They're Bears fans. I understand.
Speaking of Bears fans, Ben Roethig is here. Ben, good to see you. I don't know why he's a Bears fan, but,
that was a good transition, though.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck, I was a 90s Mac user, so I'm I'm a sucker for tough cases.
Okay, well,
that's about right.
I've got a couple answers for that, but I'm not going to bring them up. Just get myself in trouble. Jim Ray is here. He's looking like he's in the Garden of Eden once again. Jim, good to have you.
It's the Garden of La Cañada.
Is that Californian for Eden?
It's a town next to Pasadena.
Ah, okay.
It's where the right next to where the Jet Propulsion Laboratory is. In fact, I think JPL is in La Cañada.
Well, it looks very peaceful.
It's spelled La Canada.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you saw it on a sign, people come from out of town and they think it's La Canada, so they don't notice the little the curly thing. It's like, then we know you're not from here.
All right. Well, now we've had our geography lesson for the day. Now we're going to take a football lesson, apparently, from Mr. Mark Fuccio. who snuck in under the wire. Mark, good to have you. I'm a little surprised to see football players on your screen.
Well, you were the one who put the story about Gronkowski into the topic list for tonight. So, that's what inspired this. I won't give it away. Viewers can watch it and maybe figure it out because it's been all over the news these past couple of days. But we'll get to it in due course, I am sure.
Okay,
Yes,
good. That's good.
We will
boys,
find out if Sam Elliott gave him a USAA membership.
I doubt it.
All right. Well, let's get to this because we do have a few interesting things. This is something that we've talked about over the past couple weeks, months, that GM is dropping CarPlay. Well, now there's a CarPlay kit that brings it back from a third party, and it looks to be available from a single GM dealer. And I don't know quite what to make of this. If it's a GM dealer that is doing this, or is willing to install it, does this mean that there's a rebellion going on with the dealers, or are they just fulfilling customer demands, requests? And will they be a GM dealer for very long?
I think it's a demand thing because, and I'm sure they're partnering with a third party company of some, like what it says in the article. We talked about this last week, and yeah, it was more of a dig than anything else. That, hey, GM, look at what we can do, and wouldn't be at all surprised that this continues on with reverse engineering what GM has done. It only involves all the electric vehicles, though. It's not any of their gas powered vehicles. So you're still going to be stuck with their crappy system or whatever they call it.
Little colorful commentary there by Mr. Ginsburg.
I'm sorry. Don't the ICE vehicles still have CarPlay?
Any vehicle that was produced since I think 2024, 2023, 2024, I think it no longer has it.
I thought it was only the EV vehicles for now.
Oh, I mean, Ben, you probably know this, but just your GM expertise.
It was originally going to be just EV, but the virus has since spread to traditional vehicles.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize that either.
Are we sure that this kit, quote unquote, doesn't work with any GM car that?
I mean, right now,
I guess right now they only mention EVs, but
yeah,
I'd say it's too soon to tell because I mean, if you look a lot of the wireless CarPlay adapters, they're only supposed to work with certain radios, but generally will work with the third-party ones too.
Right.
So it's one of those things where we don't know enough yet, but the fact that this company is willing to risk its franchise with General Motors to just be able to sell vehicles with CarPlay in it is showing you what exactly they're being told by their customers. Mary Barra and the GM leadership may not be listening, but the dealers sure are.
They're hearing it. They're on the front lines. They're hearing it from customers.
I thought it was interesting because they specifically mentioned that this was a relatively difficult thing to do. So, and as I recall, I read this a little while ago, but I don't think there was a mention of price in here. So I just wonder, just how bad do you have to want CarPlay to go through this, and what are the maintenance issues or the repair issues going to be like? Especially if it integrates with the car's, not just the infotainment system, but the actual operation of the car. So this article raises more questions than anything. It sort of is tempting, and it's definitely fun to look at. But you have to wonder if this also is some kind of bellwether.
I mean, not only that, but not only are they possibly going to have to pay a heavy price, this could be bricked at any time by GM. and in theory could at least void their car's warranty.
That's a
I
good point. I
agree
hadn't
with
thought
the
about
second
that.
part. I don't know about the first part. I mean, it sure sounds like a hardware thing, like they're pulling the harnesses apart. And, especially since it's also plugging into the cluster and the HUD. So, it doesn't really sound like a software thing. It sounds more like hardware.
Yeah.
So I don't think GM could brick it. They can't remotely undo hardware.
That'd be a combination of, I'm thinking, software and hardware.
I think if it truly integrates with the car system, as opposed to just being an infotainment that is sort of standalone.
I don't see what it doesn't. It's not interfacing with the throttle or any of that kind of stuff. The brakes, but it is more than just the main infotainment screen. But my car, recently got an update that does the same thing, where CarPlay maps now show up on the cluster screen in front of the steering wheel, and also in the heads-up display. So that's something that Apple's software enables if the screens are hooked up to it. But it doesn't mean, it doesn't, all that means is the maps output shows up there. That doesn't make it integrated into the car. It's not like you can override car features.
Again, there's a lot of questions, but it's interesting to see that somebody would come out, and especially a dealer. I mean, I can see a company like Pioneer developing something like this, or Alpine. They're known for retrofitting cars, but this is on the other side of it.
This article doesn't say that a dealer developed this.
No, I don't think it's a dealer.
It says there's some company that developed it. And it's called White Automotive and Media Services. And so far, they're only selling it through one dealer, which I think it said was in, I guess that's also in Michigan. So, there's a dealer that's doing the sales and installation, but the dealer isn't who developed it. And there's lots of CarPlay, like add CarPlay to all kinds of cars that don't have it. There's nothing really new about that, right? You can add a CarPlay to a car that's 10 years old, or that's before CarPlay even existed. So they're probably just using off the shelf stuff for that kind of thing, and just set up the harnesses and whatever was needed to hook into the Chevy cars. I do think this article says that the kit works with the Chevy Blazer EV, Equinox EV, and where it says works with the GM's new Ultium EVs, the ones that lack those platforms in the first place. I don't think GM has taken CarPlay out of their ICE vehicles yet. I think it's, they may have announced that they're going to, but I don't think they've done it yet. I think it's these EVs are the only ones that actually don't have CarPlay right now.
I don't know if anybody out there has been to a GM dealer recently, and if in the chat room or anywhere else, let us know, because I haven't, so I don't know what they are currently offering in the non-EV vehicles. But
it really is.
I mean, regardless, GM State has been pretty blunt and direct about stating that they will not be supporting CarPlay or Android going forward, that they're going to be doing their own. So whether
There's
that's
their
actually
own-
happened.
Here's
Sorry,
an
Bill?
article from Motor Trend says we're going to be phasing it out on our new EVs and eventually all future products. So I don't think it's happened yet.
Okay. Joe in the chat room says no CarPlay remains on GM ICE cars. So, okay. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, good. Thanks for confirming that.
So we shall see. We shall see. Today's Mac Voices is supported by 1Password Extended Access Management. It is security for the way we work today. Find out more at onepassword.com/MacVoices. If you are in IT, then you are probably in the process of working out all of your priorities for the new year. Because of the many security challenges you have faced in the past year, you are looking at every possible option for meeting the new challenges 2025 will bring. 1Password Extended Access Management should be at the very top of that list. 1Password Extended Access Management addresses a whole host of issues that may have cropped up as end users do end runs around the normal security measures. They use shadow apps, non-approved apps. Contractors get access to your systems through non-employee identities. And the ever-popular unmanaged devices that your employees use for their convenience leave your company vulnerable. All of that and more are solved by using 1Password Extended Access Management. It is ready now for Okta and Microsoft Entra and is in beta for Google Workspace customers. Find out all you need to know at onepassword.com/MacVoices. That's the number 1, password.com/MacVoices. 1password.com/MacVoices. Thanks to 1Password Extended Access Management for supporting Mac Voices. I was so anxious to get to that article, I forgot to ask, did anybody partake of anything in on Black Friday or Cyber Monday in the way of purchases?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Oh, look, I got a bunch of shaking heads. I think it's a little confession time. What? David did a little overdid with the turkey and the purchases.
Well, but yeah, I got bit by the bug from OWC. They had those OWC Gemini drive holders that's the dock and everything for. It was $149. It's normally $300. So I bought 2.
You bought 2. Oh,
because I had 4 drives. So so now I have So it's actually pretty nice. It has basically a docking station / it can do RAID or dual drives. So it's Thunderbolt 3, but for $150, I couldn't beat it.
See, Marty, that's what you do. You buy 2 of them so you have a backup to the first one.
Oh, I avoided buying anything on this Black Friday. Actually, I did buy something on Black Friday because my car would not start. The rental that I got, I paid like $225 for a jump and to get somebody out to get the car going. And the guy had one of those little devices about the size of a videotape that you just kind of put the cables on, press the button, and zap, it goes. And it's like, okay, I'm buying one of those right now. So that was my Black Friday purchase.
You know how to live, Marty.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't belong to AAA?
No, I don't.
it's way cheaper. But I
I've
had
been a member of, my card says I've been a member of AAA for 73 years.
Wow.
Wow.
They must love you.
They had cars back then, Jim.
Yes, but they didn't have me's back then.
Yeah.
But I originally signed up my parents' card, so
You're on their plan.
I'm grandfathered into their start date.
Do you still get the flip maps?
Yeah.
I
The
think you can
triptychs?
get them.
Triptychs. Oh yeah. Remember they put them in that little binder, flipping. They put the trip together for you.
Yeah,
The operative
I-
word there, Jim, is grandfathered.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Yep.
I do get life insurance proposals from them every other day.
We
Yeah.
all do.
I have car insurance and home insurance through them, and they have saved my bacon on various occasions when I've had car problems.
Ben, you were shaking your head. Did you
Yes.
purchase?
I had a few intentional Black Friday deals and one very unintentional Black Friday purchase.
Do you want to share?
Does
I
that
will.
game-
We only want to know about the unintentional one.
Yeah, the unintentional.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start with the unintentional because it's related to Marty's. Well, I do have that battery charger, and I have had to use it many times the last few weeks. Why? Because A, it's cold, and B, on Black Friday, the battery in my car passed away. So I had to get a brand new size 124R from Walmart. And
Was it on sale?
Well, considering it at AutoZone, it would have been 220, and it was 139 at Walmart. Close enough.
Yeah, but is it at 139 every day at Walmart?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that's not a Black Friday.
You install
No, but
too?
it happened on Black
It
Friday.
happened on Black Friday.
And did you install it yourself?
Yeah, because my vehicle, since I had it on the trickle charger all night, so it wouldn't start even after jump starting it. So I had to take the battery out of the car,
Or
physically bring it to stores, and then carry the new battery out and reinstall it all the way parked on the street. So
I take it you have another car?
I have my father. So I had it. Yes.
What kind of mileage does your father get?
He's an EV.
Yes. So
I feel like Marty and Ben have a theme going here of car starting problems.
yes. So what I got was intentional Black Friday deals. Number one, I bought a brand new QLED Amazon Fire TV, which the first thing I did was turn off all notifications, set it to go right to the last input. So yeah, instead of a Fire TV, it's an Apple TV. But I got a really great deal on that from Amazon. So it's a far higher end TV than the 10-year-old Hisense that I replaced. Looks really good. Finally have Dolby Vision. Okay, number two, I bought a gaming mouse. The SteelSeries RX. What's the number on that? RX 3. So lightweight, all sorts of RGB. Really nice to hold. But then the coup de grace of it all. I got something before last Friday's Mac show that caused me to literally put my name as something like Alternative Universe Jim Ray. Because I got my new Beats Solo 4s at half off, $99.
I saw that deal and I was tempted. I didn't do it, but I was tempted because that seemed like almost an unbelievable deal.
Yeah, I mean, I
It wasn't
almost
that
didn't
low, but there was a really low deal on these things. The Lightning.
Yeah.
$399. I saw it.
I mean, I was almost like, man, I should buy another one.
Yes.
As a backup, yeah.
I think you could get the USB-C one too with that at that price. You could have.
Yeah. But it was just one of those things where I needed a new pair of on ears, and you, I mean, the Solo 4 doesn't have the big things like noise cancellation, but to be perfectly honest, I don't need that in the house. I have these for noise cancellation. So they do everything I need them to. They hook up to both USB lossless and 3.5 millimeter sources, including to wireless. They have the full Apple auto hookup thing going on. They sound great, and you can't beat that for $99.
No, definitely not. Before we go on, I want to welcome Webb Bixby. He snuck in here while Ben was talking about batteries. Webb, good to see you.
Good to see you. I had my own battery issue today. The car that I was driving, the little battery in the key fob died, so I had to go get my own battery today. It was a little bit smaller than yours, Ben.
Yeah,
So.
2032.
Actually, it was a 2025.
Oh,
I had a
2025.
2032 in my desk. I didn't have a 2025. So.
They're the same.
Webb,
Jeez.
I have to ask: is your background tonight? Is the quilt intended as like a stylized snowflake quilt, or is it just happened to remind me of that because of the weather?
That's my story.
Okay. We still have to get the quilt queen on here to clarify some of these things.
Yeah, I wished I could. You get Team Cindy on, I'll get the quilt queen on.
Oh, they were just on Friday on the Mac show. So.
Yeah, that won't be a problem. All I have to do is get them together.
Yeah.
They'll happily get on here and they'll take the show over. So
I was thinking about that for an April Fool's Day, is that we just get all of our better halves to do the show for us.
I don't know. That'd be tough.
Brian
already shaking his head.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Let's see, Brian. You said you made a purchase on Black Friday.
Yeah, not a fun one, but one of necessity. And as far as timing, I guess works out okay because they can be quite expensive. And that was the washer failed, so it was time for a new washer, and it just happened to be around Black Friday. So went to Lowe's.com and got a decent rate on one and delivered and installed today.
So unfortunately, Brian and I have. Yeah, it does sound familiar because I just had to do that a week or so ago, but I got a Black Friday discount as well. So, Brian, we'll have to compare what washers we got later because nobody wants to hear about this. No. Webb, Mark, either one of you make any significant or notable purchases?
I don't know if I want to call it significant. Go ahead. I'll follow up.
No, I mean, we did some, for vacations, in June of next year, but that wasn't Black Friday related.
Okay. Webb?
I bought off the Amazon. I haven't even opened it yet, but it's a little find me, AirTag type find me card. Put in your wallet. It does work with Apple's Wi-Fi. Oops.
Offie.
There. So, and I got it for half price at $16, or normally about $33, $35, somewhere in there. So I bought a bunch of them to give as gifts. So and it all started when I was talking to my brother, who was complaining about he has an AirTag on his wallet, but it kind of bumps out, sticks out, and he finds it inconvenient. So whether he uses it or not, because I buy him lots of gifts and he doesn't use them. So here's another one that he won't use, but love my brother anyway.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yep. I bought one of those for my father, Webb. It was, well, not the Eufy. I got one from a company called Eric's. It's Qi chargeable. So about the same price.
It's like very funny, Marty.
Yeah, Marty's putting.
We're not going to repeat that.
Chat. No, we're not going to get into that. Well, I made two purchases. David will recognize this. I got the OWC NVMe SSD case. This is blank, so I'm going to put my own drive in, but I'm anxious to
Okay.
do so. This just arrived today, this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance
that was
to
a
play
good
with
deal.
it.
I would
Is
tempt
that
but I didn't
Thunderbolt
do it.
3 or T4?
This is 4.
Okay,
This is 4. So
cool.
it-
And
I got
is
a
that
one-
for backup or just media editing
Anything.
purposes? What's your use
I'm
case?
I'm planning on doing it for media editing because it's supposed to be faster than what I have now. So it'll be interesting to see just how much faster the case, how much of a difference the case makes. Because I have a current OWC. I think it's an Envoy, but it's an older model Envoy. So this will be an upgrade. So we'll see how it shakes out. The other thing I got, and it's on its way. It has not arrived yet. Pilot Pete Harmon, you probably know Pete from
Oh, yes.
Mac Geek Gab. He recommended a wireless CarPlay adapter, and I've had questionable luck with CarPlay adapters for whatever reason. And my main problem has been they connect just fine, but sometimes when I'm driving in certain neighborhoods, they seem to try to connect to something else, and I lose the connection to my car.
Wow.
So
doesn't do
I'm
that.
anxious to see if this one makes a difference or not.
Hate it
So-
when that happens.
Well, look, it's one of those first world problems, but on the other hand, it is a problem, and so I've returned some of the others that I've had, even though sometimes for a while I have good luck with them for a while. But this one is, let's see, this is a Lurtech wireless adapter for CarPlay. So I'm going to see how it goes. But it was on a really good deal too. It was like $20 off, which was a healthy discount for it. So, and a 30-day trial period. So I'm going to take a run at it. Jim?
I did buy some things.
Okay.
Let's see. I bought a sound bar for my desk.
Oh,
Yeah. It's called a Sound Blade. And I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to, wasn't sure if it would work or not. Maybe it would be too big, but I figured I could return it. But I'm not returning it. Although I'm not using it, I don't think quite the way I put the monitor on top of the sound bar, which the manual doesn't say that's the way to do it. But that's the only way I could make it fit. Otherwise, the screen would be too far away from me. But it's pretty nice. It sounds awesome, and it's got a little remote control, and it can be. I've got it hooked to USB to my computer, but I can press a button here and switch it to Bluetooth, and then it will stream from my phone. So that's pretty cool. And I have a feeling I'm never going to turn it up past 15% of its volume, but it does really sound good at a low volume. So let's see. I also got a vest with a battery heater. So I just used it last night. Seems to work good. I bought several programming books about programming, enhance my skills. So I bought some Paul Hudson books and some other books and some little software, various, I spent a lot of time going through those, there was that independent app or whatever that, you scroll through it for like, I think it took me 2 hours to go through it. And just find it, and most of the ones that were interesting I already had, but there were a few that I didn't have. So,
at the risk of a shameless plug, I'm throwing a link into both chats about an interview I did with the folks about the Soundblade from CES in January. because it was being shown then, and in a noisy environment like that, you really can't tell. But from what I could tell, it was impressive. So I'm glad to hear that it is working for you, that you can verify that it was as good as I thought it was.
Oh, nice. I had never heard of it, and I think it was on somebody's list of specials for Black Friday, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, I had wanted a sound bar for a long time, but all the ones I'd seen, I was like, they don't really sound like they're much better than, they're worth the trouble. And this was almost half price, so I probably would have, not been so happy at paying the full price for it, but
yeah, it's good.
I'm gonna watch that video. I'm curious because I had never heard of them. When was this? Yeah, this was recent, right?
Yeah, 2000. This past January, obviously, not the one coming
January,
up. But
okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I think it's made by Blue Ant, and that's
Yes.
a pretty good name. So visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.